In this video, I'm going to show you how to gain muscle and bulk up, and also talk about some reasonable expectations. There are thousands of companies out there selling newsletters, website subscriptions, all kinds of products that are promising to help you gain muscle fast, and they all want your money. Let me let you in on the secret for free, as long as you promise not to tell anyone. Okay, lift weights and eat right. It's actually that simple. Although it's simple, it takes a lot of work and dedication, and we're going to talk about that in this video. But first, let's talk about some expectations.
The Pec Pumper 1000 is a revolutionary device guaranteed to give you the big muscles you've always wanted. Gain 100 pounds in 10 days.
Guaranteed.
Results not typical. Your experience may differ. Use of this product will probably result in death from infection, organ failure, embolism, heart attack, or explosion. Use at your own risk. Caution. Deflation may result if use of the Pec Pumper is discontinued.
There is a lot of bad information out there, and people have a really warped view of how fast you can add muscle through weightlifting and bodybuilding. But before we talk about that, let's talk about teens and growth first. When teens are in the age range 16 to 21, 22, there's a lot of natural growth that's happening, even without lifting weights. The teens are growing taller, adding mass, getting stronger, all without lifting any weights. The reason this is important is a lot of times you hear these silly stories about teenage buff Billy who added 20 pounds muscle lifting weights in 1 year. Well, the truth is, he would have added 15 pounds anyway just by sitting on the sofa. He only added 5 pounds by lifting weights. So what's a reasonable expectation for how much muscle you can add in a year through bodybuilding? Well, if you lift 5 days a week with intensity and focus for an hour a day, and you do that all year long, and you have perfect, flawless nutrition, you can expect to gain 5 pounds of muscle in a year if you're a hard gainer, and if you're one of the very fortunate few, you might eke out 10 pounds of muscle in a year. Now, 5 pounds a year may not sound like a lot, but you can do that year after year. Picture yourself a decade from now with 50 pounds of muscle on. It's possible, but it's a very slow process. Count on 5 pounds a year. Okay, now let's talk about bulking up and adding muscle. As I said before, there's two things you got to do. You have to do resistance training and have proper nutrition. We'll talk about the nutrition later. Let's talk about the weights first. You have to lift weights to get stronger, and mass follows strength. You can't get bigger without getting stronger. Now, on my website, I have workout plans for beginner, intermediate, and advanced bodybuilders. I'm not going to go into it here. This would be an hour-long video. I would like to talk about the dedication required, though. Remember, I said in expectations, you can expect to add maybe 5 or 10 pounds muscle in a year if you're lucky. Now, that is if you do everything right. It means when you're lifting, you're doing it 5 days a day, you're never skipping, you do it an hour a day, you do it with intensity and focus, and check out my video on focus if you want to know what I mean by that. And you're not going to gain muscle by kind of flitting around the gym now and then, maybe standing around chatting with your friends. You don't gain muscle just by standing near the weights. You got to do something with them. Believe it or not, lifting weights is the easy part of gaining muscle. The hard part is nutrition. The number one reason that bodybuilders have poor results is not because they don't have intensity in the weight room or they're screwing around at the gym. It's because their nutrition sucks. It can take up to 5 days for the muscles to recuperate and rebuild after you've had an intense workout. And during that time, you need a constant intake of protein. You can't just have a steak at dinner and call it good. You won't gain any muscle by eating like that. Your body cannot store protein. You need 6 even doses of protein spread throughout the day so that your muscles have this constant supply of amino acids to rebuild. The first thing you need to know about nutrition are some numbers. How many calories do you need in each of your 6 meals, and how many grams protein do you need in each of your meals? It depends on your weight. On this chart, you see for different weights, I list the calories and the amount of protein in each meal. So let's take, for example, say you're 140 pounds. Each of your meals should have 350 calories, and each of the meals should have 23 grams of protein. Eating more than this will not make your muscles grow faster. It will just make you fat. This is really important, so I'm going to say this again. Eating more than this chart shows will not make you more muscular or stronger. It will just make you fat. This is the whole bulking myth. You do not need to get fat to get strong or muscular. As long as you have the 6 evenly spaced meals like I show in this chart with the amount of protein I suggest, your muscles will have all the amino acids they need to rebuild stronger and larger. You don't need to get fat. Let's take a look at what happens if you're not careful what you eat and eat junk food. Let's take our hypothetical 140-pound bodybuilder. As the chart said, he needs 23 grams of protein 6 times a day. And let's say that he gets that with fast food by eating Big Macs. They have 24 grams protein. Perfect. Each burger has 24 grams protein, so his muscles will grow. But man, oh man, look at the calories. Remember I said this 140-pound bodybuilder needs 350 calories per meal. Well, the Big Mac has 590 calories, almost 200% too much. What this means is our 140-pound bodybuilder will be gaining muscle, but he's going to be gaining 3 pounds of fat per week, or 12 pounds per month. Can you say sumo wrestler? So if you can't eat fast food, what can you eat? Well, basically, your meals need to be high protein and low calorie. So the meat sources in your meals need to be very lean cuts of meat. For example, chicken broiled or fish broiled. Your meals also need lots of vegetables because they have a lot of ability to fill you up with the fiber without a lot of calories. And your meals also need to have whole grains like oats or whole wheat or brown rice. Those also give you the energy you need and also fiber to fill you up. You can also check out my video on nutrition for lots of low-fat, high-protein meals that will work for this. If you have the time and devotion, you can gain muscle and lose fat at the same time, but it's really hard. The lifting weights is exactly the same, but the nutrition is really tough because you need the same amount of protein, but you have far fewer calories to work with. So coming up with acceptable meals that are high protein and low calorie is really difficult. Basically, there's nothing you can get at a fast food restaurant or that's already prepared in the TV dinner aisle that will work. You need to cook all your meals from scratch, and they will basically need to be non-fat meals. As I said, it's really difficult, but there's no reason you cannot add muscle and lose fat at the same time as long as you're willing to put in some time with the nutrition. Now let's look at some numbers for those wanting to gain muscle and lose fat. This chart will show you how many calories you need if you want to lose fat at the rate of 1 pound a week. Let's look at our hypothetical 140-pound bodybuilder again. They would consume the same amount of protein in each of the 6 meals, so 23 grams of protein. However, they only get 265 calories per meal. That's 85 fewer than they were eating before when they were maintaining weight. This is really difficult to do. So remember, gaining muscle and bulking up requires 2 simple things. you have to lift weights regularly with intensity, and 2, you need good nutrition, which means 6 small, well-balanced meals a day, each with protein. That's it. Happy lifting.
Results not typical. Your experience may differ. Use of this product will probably result in death from infection, organ failure, embolism, heart attack, or explosion. Use at your own risk. Caution. Deflation may result if use of the PEC pumper is discontinued.